when AI analyzed CT scans of Pompeii's victims.
If Pompeii's greatest secret wasn't buried beneath the ashes but sealed, then why? Because in 2025, archaeologists discovered a vault that was probably never meant to be found. While excavating near the Portanola Gate, ground-penetrating radar revealed something that wasn't on any ancient maps. A perfect square cavity, hidden beneath volcanic rock for nearly 2,000 years. When the team broke open the basalt, the scene that unfolded stunned even the most experienced scientists. Inside was a small room, extremely cramped, as if someone had deliberately concealed it. Burnt wooden boxes were arranged around it, arranged in a semicircle, and in the center sat a bronze sphere that resembled an old machine. Testing revealed it wasn't just any decoration, it was an ancient mechanical orrery, a model of the solar system. But the real shock came when they discovered that it depicted 8 planets, a fact that at the time, humans only knew of 5. Uranus and Neptune were also there, officially discovered in the 18th and 19th centuries. An ancient Oscan line was engraved on the base. The watchers of the flame know the motion of the sky, meaning those who watch the fire know the motion of the sky. And bronze plaques on the walls were engraved with star charts and eclipses showing future alignments. When researchers at the University of Naples simulated these patterns, they found that one alignment would occur in the year 2043, right around the corner. The question now is, was this vault the secret lab of a forbidden scientific group operating and hiding from Roman rule? Or is there something hidden beneath Pompeii waiting for our time? Whatever the case, what scientists found in that vault shook the foundations of history and astronomy. If you too want to know what was inside this hidden vault and why experts have not been able to explain it till date, then like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe, because what will be revealed next is far beyond your imagination. One morning in 79 AD, the city of Pompeii was forever frozen in history. The sky suddenly darkened, and ash and fire from Mount Vesuvius engulfed the entire city. Within hours, hundreds of homes, streets, and markets were buried under a thick layer of ash. People were at a loss for what was happening. Someone fell while running, another mother was left clutching her child. It all happened so quickly that no one had time to think. When the ash solidified into stone, Pompeii became an eerie time capsule. The walls of the houses, the cooking utensils, even the faces of the people, everything remained as if someone had pressed pause in an instant. For centuries, people believed the city was a cursed place, wiped out by the gods. But when archaeologists began their first excavations in the 18th century, it was as if time itself had spoken. When the streets of Pompeii reopened, everything seemed to have been left there just yesterday. Paintings on the walls, wine jugs, market coins, and even wooden cots. But beneath the ashes lay not only traces of life, but also layers of secrets. Each excavation revealed something new, sometimes a temple, sometimes a secret chamber. And each discovery left a question, whether everything had been revealed or whether something was still hidden. And now, 2,000 years later, when modern technology peered deep into Pompeii's ground, a vault was discovered that shook the ground beneath historians' feet. In a place no one had ever dug, a secret was buried far more terrifying than the ashes of 79 AD. Pompeii is not just the story of a dead city. It bears witness to a moment when time sealed itself, so that future generations could witness how a single gust of nature could wipe out a civilization. In early 2025, a new excavation began near Pompeii. A team of archaeologists was working in an area called the Portanola Gate, where traces of several ancient buildings and gardens had previously been discovered. But this time, the excavation was different. They had modern technology, such as ground-penetrating radar, GPR, which can scan objects hidden underground. Initially, everything seemed normal, but then a strange shape appeared on the screen, a perfect rectangle, resembling a room or structure. What was surprising was that this area was located directly beneath the previously explored area. The team's lead archaeologist immediately had the scan data reanalyzed. Each time the result was the same, something solid and clean beneath the ground, not created by nature but deliberately created by someone. Workers at the excavation site were instructed to gradually expose the area. Initially, thick layers of ash and stone had to be removed, and every inch of progress took hours. The researchers had no idea whether they were reaching an ordinary room or a secret that should never have been revealed. On the afternoon of the third day, when the team removed a rock layer, a basalt slab was revealed, black, smooth, and perfectly flat. It looked as if someone had deliberately fitted it like a door. Then one researcher exclaimed, "This isn't natural. Someone made it." And that was the moment that transformed the excavation from an archaeological study to a mystery investigation. As evening deepened, cameras, drones, and sensors were all set. The atmosphere at the excavation site was like a movie. Dim lighting, a cool breeze, and everyone's eyes fixed on that basalt door. The archaeologists realized they were close to a major breakthrough. Somewhere under the stable, this line was written in his camp notes, but no one imagined that beneath that stable lay the most mysterious discovery in history. The team was now right in front of the mysterious basalt door. The stone door was so perfectly fitted that not a single hair could penetrate its edges. Everyone's breath held. It was nighttime, and it was quiet all around, with only the faint hum of machinery and the archaeologists' footsteps. They cleared more soil around the door to determine how to open it. There was no handle, no keyhole, as if it were permanently sealed. Then one worker noticed a narrow crack at the bottom, as if something had once been stuck there. They slowly began to insert pry tools and a hydraulic lifter. With the first blow, there was a deep crack, as if a centuries-old sleep had been awakened. A faint smell permeated the air, like that of old stone or burnt wood. Everyone donned masks and turned on their cameras. Slowly, the door began to slide. The sound of its friction was so loud that everyone present fell silent for a moment. As soon as the door opened slightly, a blast of cold, stale air gushed out, and darkness spread before everyone. The archaeologists shone their camera light inside, and the first glimpse they got shocked the entire team. It was no ordinary room, but a perfect sealed vault. A layer of ash had settled all around the inside, but everything inside was in its place, as if it had been placed just yesterday. The room was small, perhaps 10 feet wide and 12 feet long, but its walls were made of smooth basalt stone, as if carved by hand by a highly skilled craftsman. The room was so cramped that only 2 people could enter at a time. In the center stood a round pedestal, on which sat a metallic object that, at first glance, appeared to be a bronze sphere. As soon as the archaeologists stepped inside, cameras began to spin. The walls were studded with bronze plaques engraved with strange shapes and star-like markings. Charred wooden chests were stacked on 3 sides of the room, charred but unbroken. They were arranged as if someone had arranged them in a semicircle. The central pedestal seemed to be the center of it all. Near some chests lay small metal tubes, as if made for holding scrolls. Some contained dust, some ashes. But the sphere, that object was different. It was made of bronze, but it didn't have the green oxidation marks, while the others appeared burned. Small circles were etched into its surface, and thin metal thread-like wires swirled between them. When a torchlight fell on it, it gave off a strange glow, as if an ancient machine had come to life. Everyone was amazed at how something 2,000 years old could be in such excellent condition. A researcher looked beneath the sphere and saw something engraved, letters of an ancient language. It was later discovered to be Oscan script, and it read, "The watchers of the flame know the motion of the sky." At that moment, silence fell over the excavation site. Everyone understood that this was no ordinary object, but part of some ancient knowledge or ritual. The temperature inside the vault was strange, neither too cold nor too hot, but the air felt heavy. Electronic sensors recorded magnetic readings constantly fluctuating. The camera feed was also distorted for a few minutes. It seemed as if some strange energy was present. Scientists attributed it to natural interference, but some on the team were visibly frightened. When they touched the bronze plaques, the patterns engraved on them resembled a star chart. It seemed as if the walls were part of a cosmic map. It was as if time had stopped in that small vault. Everything was exactly as it must have been just before the eruption. Untouched, sealed, frozen in time. The archaeologists looked at each other. No one said anything, but everyone had the same question. Have we just made the greatest discovery in history, or have we uncovered a secret that shouldn't have been revealed? And that was the moment when a simple excavation turned into history's most mysterious discovery. Beneath the ashes of Pompeii lay not just the past, but a mystery that still breathed its last. A vault trapped in the clutches of time, perhaps now seeking to break free. As the team carefully lifted the bronze sphere from its pedestal, everyone's attention was riveted. This was no ordinary artifact. It looked like a complex, precise, and extremely ancient machine. When the scientists cleaned it, several circular rings appeared on its surface, much like the ones we see in models of the solar system today. In the center was a large circular mark symbolizing the sun, and around it revolved small metallic discs resembling planets. But the real shock came when the count was done. Not 5, but 8 planets. Everyone immediately wrote in their notebooks, 8 orbital rings. At first, everyone thought the craftsmen had mistakenly added extra circles. But when they saw the fine detailing, everyone's expression changed. The size, distance, and position of each ring were exactly the same as the orbits modern astronomy shows today. There were Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, followed by 2 smaller circles that perfectly matched Uranus and Neptune. While these 2 planets were discovered thousands of years later, Uranus in 1781 and Neptune in 1846, how could someone 2,000 years older have depicted them so precisely? This was the question that baffled the scientific community. Fine letters were engraved on the edges of the sphere, and each planetary ring had a tiny marking, as if part of some ancient calculation. Many experts believed it was an orrery, a mechanical model depicting the motion of the sun and planets. And if it was indeed an orrery, it meant someone in Pompeii possessed astronomical knowledge so advanced that it would be nearly impossible without a modern telescope. Some archaeologists suggested it might have been created as a philosophical symbol or a religious emblem. But when a physicist tested the metallic composition, it was found to contain alloys used in precision instruments. As the sphere's mysteries were revealed, attention turned to the wall where the faint letters were engraved. It read, "The watchers of the flame know the motion of the sky." It was written in Oscan, a language that had almost disappeared by the time of Pompeii. When translated, the archaeologists were stunned. The meaning was, "Those who watch the fire know the movements of the sky." It sounded poetic, but the symbolism behind it was much deeper. Watchers of the flame. This term had never been found in history before. But when researchers looked at old Babylonian and Greek references, they discovered that many ancient civilizations had groups that believed in a connection between fire and the stars. Babylonian astronomer priests believed that the flame of the gods, the sun, controlled the movement of the entire cosmos. The same principle was evident here. This vault in Pompeii likely belonged to a scientific sect or secret group that studied the movements of the universe, but secretly from religious authority. Some experts even suggested that the Watchers of the Flame were perhaps a forbidden cult of knowledge, people who combined science with spirituality. For them, flame symbolized not just fire, but cosmic energy. And this vault may have been their research or meditation chamber, where they modeled planetary motion. But the most surprising thing about the Oscan inscription was that it was the last known Oscan line written in Pompeii. This means that the vault was created by those who knew the language last, those on the edge of history who sealed their discoveries to the world before the coming apocalypse. When scientists analyzed the orrery and inscription together, a strange pattern emerged. The planetary positions and the flame symbol both pointed to a specific solar alignment, and simulations showed that this alignment was going to happen again in the year 2043. Perhaps this message was for the future, for our time. As the team cleaned the remaining walls of the vault, more things began to emerge, things one might not expect to find in ancient ruins. Numerous bronze plaques were embedded in the walls, with finely engraved lines that at first glance appeared to be abstract patterns. But when a researcher shone a flashlight on them, they saw they were star charts, intricate maps of the stars, planets, and lunar phases. Each plaque showed a different alignment, and some bore tiny symbols that appeared to be part of some kind of astronomical calculation. Astronomers from the University of Naples were called in, who took 3D scans and performed computer simulations. The result was astonishing. One of the alignments on the maps was an alignment that would only occur in the year 2043. The scientists repeated the calculations several times. This wasn't a symbolic design, but a real celestial alignment, where the sun, moon, and 3 major planets align in a straight line, a rare event that occurs only every few thousand years. Questions arose. How could anyone in 79 AD know where the planets would be in the sky 2,000 years later? Did these people possess an advanced observation system? Or was this part of a tradition that considered celestial events spiritual omens? Archaeologists now believe that this vault wasn't just a tomb. It was designed as a scientific chamber where astronomy, mathematics, and perhaps some esoteric knowledge were practiced. Another discovery was made during the investigation. Scrolls were kept in a corner of the vault, encased in wooden cases, but still largely intact due to the ash and ceiling. As the scientists tried to remove one of them, a strange phenomenon occurred. A nearby magnetic sensor suddenly malfunctioned. They retested and found that the magnetic field was distorting in certain areas inside the vault, as if some invisible energy was interfering. The parchments found didn't look like ordinary papyrus. They had a metallic texture, and fine black writing was embossed on them. Researchers suggested it might have been written with a special mineral ink containing iron or magnetite, but some readings were so strong that they even caused a compass needle to spin. Therefore, some scientists speculated that the parchments might have been made of some experimental substance, a material that could absorb or bend magnetic fields. This made the vault even more mysterious. Some even suggested it might be evidence of some ancient energy study, as if people were trying to channel the power of the sun or planets. Theories abounded. Some historians claim that the site might have belonged to a forbidden sect of scientists, people who, contrary to the orthodox religious beliefs of the Roman Empire, considered natural phenomena not divine but measurable phenomena. These were people who, breaking away from the control of religion, sought to understand the cosmos in their own way. Their knowledge was perhaps so advanced that the authorities feared it was an insult to the gods, and so they had to work in secret. According to this theory, they sealed their work in this vault before the eruption, so that this knowledge could be revealed again when humanity reached that level in the future. On the other hand, some scholars believed that this vault was a kind of initiation chamber, where chosen individuals learned ancient astronomy and cosmic cycles. Watchers of the Flame was probably the name of this secret society, which claimed to decode the movement of the flame, the sun. The charts on their plaques were proof that they had understood the exact motion of the planets thousands of years ago. But with every discovery, a fear also grew. Magnetic disturbances and metallic scrolls raised the question: did this vault contain only knowledge or something that had lain dormant until now? The archaeological team wrote in their reports, "This place is not only history, but also a warning. The ashes buried beneath Pompeii are no longer just a relic of the past. Something hidden there may have been left to communicate with the future." As the vault's mysteries continued to unfold, historians began to call it a connection point not just for Pompeii, but for the entire ancient world. When experts decoded some of the inscriptions and star charts, the symbols used were found to be strikingly similar to those in Babylonian astronomy. These same Babylonian priests, thousands of years ago, observed the movements of the stars to predict weather, eclipses, and planetary cycles. They created detailed records of planetary cycles that even today match modern calculations. And now the symbols found in this vault in Pompeii were repeating those same patterns, as if someone had passed on their ancient knowledge. Babylonian priests were called Watchers of the Heavens. They believed that the flame of the gods controlled the movements of every planet. The inscription, Watchers of the Flame, in Pompeii's Oscan script likely echoed that tradition. This could mean that these people in Italy were connected to Babylon or Mesopotamia through some cross-cultural exchange, perhaps through traders, scholars, or knowledge brought by sea. This connection suggests that ancient civilizations were not isolated. They shared ideas and science. Through this vault, it seemed as if a global scientific network existed 2,000 years ago, attempting to decode the mysteries of the heavens. Now it was the turn of modern science. Archaeologists sent the artifacts to top laboratories in Naples and Rome. Radiocarbon dating revealed that the wooden chests and parchments indeed dated before 79 AD, that is, before the eruption. But most surprising was that the metal alloys used in the bronze sphere were far more refined than the technology available at that time. Metallurgy tests revealed that the sphere contained copper, tin, and an unknown metallic compound, whose molecular structure was unusual even for modern instruments. It appeared as if the metal had been subjected to a magnetic stabilization process, a process still performed in advanced laboratories today. When AI reconstructions created 3D modeling of the sphere and plaques, the patterns revealed hidden geometry, a kind of harmonic ratio that matched the orbital resonance of the planets. This meant they understood planetary motion mathematically, even without a telescope. Scientists called it a statistical coincidence, but privately everyone knew it went deeper than coincidence. Some AI models even showed that the bronze sphere contained tiny magnetic points perfectly aligned with the planetary positions, as if it were an ancient data device. As soon as lab reports and leaked visuals surfaced, a worldwide media frenzy began. Hashtags began trending on social media: Yashir Pompeii Vault, Yashas Ancient AI, or Share Forbidden Astronomy. On Reddit, people began theorizing that this vault was the laboratory of a lost civilization, hidden during the Roman Empire. Some YouTubers said it was evidence that ancient humans knew the solar system better than we think. News channels hailed it as history's greatest archaeological mystery. Some skeptics called it an exaggeration, while others suggested it was a controlled leak, perhaps part of government research that had now accidentally become public knowledge. But whatever the case, the debate was unstoppable. People began asking questions. Did this knowledge really belong to our ancestors? Was there a civilization that considered science divine? Archaeologists tried to keep things quiet, but the world's attention was now focused on that vault in Pompeii. Cameras, drones, and journalists gathered outside the site. Everyone wanted to know, was this really proof that there was a chapter in our past that we erased from history? And as the debate raged, one thing became clear. Pompeii was no longer just a dead city, but a living question. A question that was breaking the boundaries of science, faith, and history. This vault in Pompeii leaves more questions unanswered than it reveals. The biggest mystery is the accuracy of the bronze orrery. How did someone create such an accurate solar model 2,000 years ago, depicting even Uranus and Neptune, even though those planets hadn't been discovered at the time? Was it the leftover knowledge of a forgotten civilization, or the work of someone who saw the sky differently? Then comes the thing that still haunts scientists today, the alignment prediction for 2043. How is it possible that an ancient plaque records the exact planetary positions that will occur 2,000 years later? It doesn't seem like a mere calculation, but a warning, as if someone has left a mark for the coming era. And then there's that Oscan inscription. The watchers of the flame know the motion of the sky. This doesn't seem like just a poetic line, but a hint that this vault belonged to a group that understood cosmic motion through the power of flame, the sun. Were they scientists, philosophers, or something else? It remains a mystery. Despite every test, every scan, every decoding, the vault's purpose remains unsolved. It seems that beneath the ashes of Pompeii lies not just history, but a message, perhaps left for our time. And now, as 2043 approaches, scientists and historians around the world are monitoring this alignment. If the sky on that day displays a pattern similar to the one on the vault's walls, it will prove that those people knew something about our future. So the question is this vault part of an ancient warning? Was it a sign that human civilization is about to reach the same turning point where Pompeii once stood? If you believe this story doesn't end here, like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe, because Pompeii is no longer just history. It's a warning that will perhaps answer us in due time.